My phone's been dead for 3 days. No battery, no charger, just a black screen sitting in my drawer like a paperweight. So when it started ringing at 4:47 a.m., vibrating against the wood loud enough to wake me up, I knew something was fundamentally wrong. And when I saw my own number flashing on the caller ID, every rational thought I had just evaporated. Because dead phones don't ring, and you can't call yourself. But someone was trying to reach me, and they knew things they shouldn't know. I haven't slept right in 6 months. Not since the promotion, not since the new apartment, not since everything in my life supposedly got better. Isn't that how it always works? You get what you want and suddenly your brain decides to punish you for it. My therapist says it's anxiety. Calls it success-induced insomnia like that's a real diagnosis. Tells me to try meditation apps and chamomile tea and all this other useless garbage that costs $40 a session to hear about. So yeah, I was awake when it happened. Again, staring at my ceiling fan going in slow circles. Counting the rotations because what else was I supposed to do? The apartment was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator 2 rooms away and the occasional car passing on the street below. Then I heard it, a vibration. Mechanical, rhythmic, insistent. My stomach clenched immediately because I recognized that sound out my phone. But that was impossible. I let the battery die on Monday after my ex wouldn't stop blowing it up with paragraphs about closure and second chances. It had been sitting in my nightstand drawer ever since, completely powerless. The vibrating continued. 3 long bursts, a pause, then 3 more. I sat up slowly, heart already accelerating, and pulled open the drawer. The phone screen was lit up, bright blue in the darkness, and I could see it shaking against the wood. An incoming call. My hands were trembling when I picked it up. The battery icon showed 0%, completely drained. No charging symbol, no power source, nothing. But there it was, ringing in my palm. The caller ID made my throat close up. My number. Not a known, not a random string of digits. My actual phone number, the one I'd had for 7 years, calling itself. I should have let it go to voicemail. Should have thrown the phone across the room or smashed it against the wall or done literally anything except what I did. But curiosity is a disease, and I was already infected. I answered, hello. Silence, not dead air, but the kind of silence that feels occupied. Like someone's on the other end, breathing, listening, waiting. Who is this? My voice cracked. More silence. Then, just as I was about to hang up, I heard it doubt my voice. My actual voice, playing back at me. Who is this? The exact words I just said, in my exact tone, with my exact inflection. A perfect recording played back with maybe a half-second delay. My finger was already moving to end the call when the voice spoke again. But this time, it wasn't repeating me. This time it said something new. You shouldn't have moved into this apartment, Cameron. I dropped the phone like it burned me. It hit the mattress and bounced, still connected, and I could hear breathing coming through the speaker. Slow, measured, deliberate breathing. I grabbed it again, hands shaking so badly I almost threw it by accident. How do you know my name? How are you calling me? The voice, my voice, laughed. Not a human laugh. Something approximated, like AI learning to mimic emotion without understanding it. Check your voicemail, Cameron. I left you 17 messages. You haven't listened to a single one. The call ended. I sat there in the dark, phone still in my hand, trying to process what just happened. My brain was doing the thing where it scrambles for rational explanations. Prank call, hack number, spoofing app, somebody messing with me. But none of that explained the dead battery. None of that explained how it knew my name, knew about the apartment. The phone buzzed once. A notification. 17 new voicemails. My thumb hovered over the voicemail icon. Every instinct I had was screaming not to open it, to turn the phone off, to throw it in the dumpster outside and pretend this never happened. But that voice said I should have never moved here, into this specific apartment, which meant someone was watching me, knew where I lived, knew my routine. I needed to know what I was dealing with. I opened voicemail. The first message was dated 6 months ago. The day I moved in, I press play. Static at first, thick and crackling like an old radio trying to find a station. Then, underneath it, sounds, footsteps, slow, heavy footsteps on a hard floor. My floor, I realized, recognizing the slight echo of my apartment's layout. Then breathing, close to the microphone, in and out, then my voice, whispering, "He doesn't know yet, he will." Message ended. My entire body went cold. I checked the timestamp again. 6 months ago, for 47 a.m. The exact time the phone had just rung. I scrolled to the next message. Same date, 1 hour later. This time, there was no static, just clear audio. The sound of my shower running, water hitting tile, and then humming. Someone humming a tune I didn't recognize while standing in my bathroom. What the fuck? I whispered out loud. Message 3. My voice reading my credit card number. All 16 digits, expiration date, security code. Perfect accuracy. Message 4. A recording of me talking to my mom on the phone 3 months ago. A private conversation I had while walking around my living room. But the audio quality was too good, too close. Like the microphone was right next to my face. I was sweating now, actually sweating, and my bedroom felt smaller somehow, the walls closer. Message 5, me sleeping. Just breathing sounds, slow and rhythmic, for 45 seconds straight. Then my voice whispering, "He looks peaceful. He won't be soon." I almost threw up. There were 12 more messages. I didn't want to hear them. Didn't want to confirm what I already knew. Someone had been in my apartment multiple times, recording me, watching me, for 6 months, and I never noticed. How did I never notice? I got up, legs shaky, and turned on every light in the apartment. Living room, kitchen, bathroom, closets, everything. I checked the locks on the front door still bolted. Checked the windows all closed. Checked under the bed, in the cabinets, behind the shower curtain. Nothing. No one. But the voicemails were real. The recordings were real. I grabbed my laptop and started Googling. Dead phone turns on by itself. Phone calling own number. Hack voicemail. Every search led me down rabbit holes about telemarketers and spam, and nothing that explained this. Then I found a forum post from 2 years ago. Subject: phone active after death. Anyone else? The post was short. My phone's been doing weird shit since I moved. Turns on when it's dead. Calls go straight to voicemail even when it's right next to me. Found voice messages I never left myself. Building manager says the last tenant left in a hurry. Didn't take anything with them. Anyone know what this means? There were 3 replies. First reply: check your lease. Old building. Original poster. Yeah. Built in 1987. Why? Second reply: get out. Third reply: it's already too late. It knows you're listening. The thread ended there. No follow-up. No resolution. The user's account had been deleted. I checked my own lease, hands trembling so hard I could barely scroll through the PDF. My building was built in 1985. The apartment had been vacant for 14 months before I moved in. 14 months. I called the building manager. It rang 6 times before going to voicemail. I left a message, trying to sound calm, asking about the previous tenant, why they left, if there were any issues with the unit. I hung up and sat in the middle of my living room floor, phone still in my hand, waiting. For 47 a.m. came and went. No call. By 6 a.m., sunlight started bleeding through the blinds and everything felt less terrifying. Daytime has a way of making the impossible seem stupid. I almost convinced myself I'd imagine it. Stress hallucination. Exhausted brain conjuring horror where there was none. Then my phone buzzed. A text message. From my own number. You're still here. I stared at the screen, at those 3 words, and something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to be afraid in my own home. I wasn't going to let some psycho with a spoofing app ruin the first decent place I lived in years. I typed back, "Who are you?" The reply came instantly. Check voicemail 18. There was no voicemail 18 a minute ago, but when I opened the app, there it was. Timestamp from 30 seconds prior. I pressed play. This time, there was no static, no ambiguity, just my voice, clear and close, whispering directly into the microphone. I'm you, Cameron. The you that stayed. The you that didn't leave when you had the chance. And now I'm wearing your name, your voice, your life, while you sit there pretending you still have control. But you don't. You stopped being real the day you signed the lease. I've been walking around in your skin for 6 months, going to your job, texting your friends, living your routine. And no one noticed. Not even you. The message continued. Every time you look in the mirror, you're looking at me. Every time you speak, you're hearing me. I'm the one people see when they think of Cameron. You're just the leftover, the shadow, the glitch that won't disappear. My vision blurred. I felt dizzy, unmoored, like the floor was tilting beneath me. Tonight, at 4:47 a.m., I'm coming back. And this time, you won't wake up after. The voicemail ended. I sat there for 3 hours, paralyzed, trying to convince myself it wasn't real. That none of it was real, but the messages were there. The recordings were there. The texts were there. At 9 a.m., I called in sick to work. At 10 a.m., I tried calling the police. I got as far as someone's been in my apartment before I realized how insane I sounded. How do you explain voicemails from yourself? How do you show them a dead phone that keeps turning on? They'd think I was losing it. Maybe I was. I spent the day packing, threw clothes into a suitcase, grabbed my laptop, my wallet, my keys. I'd go to a hotel, stay there until I figured this out. Maybe break the lease, eat the penalty fee, move back in with my parents if I had to. Was halfway out the door when I stopped because I saw it on my kitchen counter. My phone. The dead one I had left in my bedroom, except I hadn't left it on the counter. I specifically remember putting it back in the nightstand drawer. It was sitting face up, screen off, exactly where I eat breakfast every morning. I walked over slowly, every nerve ending on fire, and picked it up. The screen turned on by itself. One new photo in my gallery. I didn't want to open it. Every cell in my body was screaming at me to leave, to run, to get out of the apartment and never come back. But I opened it anyway. It was a picture of me, asleep in my bed, taken from the doorway of my bedroom. The timestamp read, last night, 3:32 a.m. I was in the photo, lying on my side, face half buried in the pillow, completely unconscious. But standing in the corner of the room, partially obscured by shadow, was a figure. Same height as me, same build, same hair, standing perfectly still, staring at the bed, at me. I zoomed in on the face. It was my face. Not similar, not close exact, down to the scar on my left eyebrow from a skateboarding accident in high school, down to the crooked bottom tooth I'd always meant to fix. I dropped the phone again and back toward the door, breath coming in short, rapid gasps. That's when I heard it, from the bedroom. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, moving across the hardwood floor. I ran, didn't grab my suitcase, didn't grab my keys, just ran straight out the front door and down the hallway, slamming through the stairwell exit because I couldn't wait for the elevator. I made it to the lobby, chest heaving, and crashed through the front doors into daylight. People walked past on the sidewalk. Cars drove by. The world continued like nothing was wrong. I stood there on the concrete, barefoot, no phone, no wallet, trying to figure out what to do next. That's when I saw him, across the street, standing at the bus stop. Me, wearing the same clothes I'd worn yesterday, same jacket, same shoes, staring directly at me with a blank, calm expression. We made eye contact. He smiled. Not a friendly smile, a knowing smile. The kind of smile you give someone when you've already won and you're just waiting for them to realize it. Then he got on the bus, and the bus drove away. I don't know how long I stood there. Could have been minutes, could have been an hour. Eventually, a neighbor I'd seen a few times in the elevator stopped and asked if I was okay. I must have looked like hell because she actually seemed concerned. I'm locked out, I lied. Left my keys inside. She offered to let me use her phone to call the building manager. I said I'd figure it out. When she walked away, I finally let myself think clearly. If the thing was me, if it had been me for 6 months, then what did that make me? Was I even real? Had I been walking around, going to work, living my life, while something else wore my face? Or was I the original and it was the copy? How do you prove you're you? I started walking. No destination, just movement, because standing still felt like giving up. I passed coffee shops and bus stops and people living normal lives, and none of them knew. None of them could tell. After a few blocks, I saw a public library and went inside. Used one of the computers to check my bank account. Normal activity. Coffee purchases, grocery store, gas station. All from the past week. All places I remember going. I checked my work email. Messages I'd sent. Reports I'd filed. Everything looked right. I checked my social media. Posts I'd made. Comments I'd left. Pictures I'd uploaded. Everything was me. Everything was normal. Except I couldn't shake the feeling that I was looking at someone else's life. I logged into my phone carrier's website and checked the call logs. Dozens of outgoing calls. To my mom, my coworker, my dentist. All normal numbers. But mixed in every day at 4:47 a.m. for the past 6 months. One outgoing call. To my own number. Each call lasted exactly 3 minutes. I scrolled back further. The calls started the day I moved in, and they never stopped. Every single morning, 4:47 a.m. Which meant I'd been calling myself for 6 months, or something had. I logged out and sat there in the library, surrounded by people reading and studying and existing in reality, and I felt the edges of my mind starting to fray. The librarian announced closing time 8 p.m. I hadn't eaten all day, hadn't slept in over 30 hours. I walked outside into the dark and realized I had nowhere to go. Couldn't go back to the apartment, couldn't check into a hotel without my wallet, couldn't call anyone because I didn't have my phone. I ended up at a 24-hour diner, sitting in a back booth, drinking coffee I couldn't pay for, trying to figure out my next move. The waitress, an older woman with tired eyes, refilled my cup for the 3rd time. "Rough night?" she asked, something like that. She nodded like she understood. "You look like you've seen a ghost." I almost laughed. "Worse. I think I am one." She gave me a weird look and walked away. I stayed in the booth until 4 a.m., watching the clock on the wall, waiting to see what would happen when 4:47 hit. At 4:30, my reflection in the diner window started moving differently than I was. Small things at first. A blink when I hadn't blinked. A head tilt I didn't make. Then it smiled. I looked away, heart pounding, and when I looked back, my reflection was normal again. At 4:47 exactly, every phone in the diner started ringing. The waitress's phone, the cook's phone, the 2 other customers' phones, all at the same time. They all answered, confused, and I watched their faces change. They looked at me. All of them. "He's here," the waitress said into her phone, still staring at me. "Booth 7. I ran out the door, into the parking lot, down the street into residential neighborhoods I didn't recognize. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs gave out and I collapsed on someone's front lawn, gasping for air. When I finally looked up, I was in front of my apartment building. I hadn't meant to come back here. I'd run in the opposite direction. But here I was. The front door was propped open. The lobby was dark. The elevator door stood open, waiting. I knew I shouldn't go inside. Knew it was a trap. Knew that whatever was waiting for me up there had been planning this for 6 months. But I also knew I couldn't keep running, because no matter where I went, I'd still be me, or whatever I was. I stepped into the elevator, pressed 7. The doors closed. The elevator climbed, and I watched the numbers light up one by one, each floor bringing me closer to something I didn't want to face. When the doors opened on the 7th floor, the hallway was dark except for one light, coming from under my apartment door. I walked toward it, each step feeling heavier than the last, and stopped in front of the door. It was unlocked. I pushed it open. The apartment was exactly how I had left it. Suitcase by the door, lights still on, TV playing static, but sitting on the couch, facing away from me, was a figure. "You came back," it said, in my voice. I stepped inside. The door closed behind me on its own. "What are you?" I asked. The figure stood and turned around. It was me. Perfect copy. Exact match. I'm what you became when you stopped noticing. It said, people don't disappear all at once, Cameron. They fade, little by little. Every time you go through the motions without thinking, every time you stop being present, every time you let the routine replace you, that's when we slip in. And by the time you realize something's wrong, we've already taken everything. I'm still here, I said, but my voice sounded weak even to me. It smiled. Are you? When's the last time someone looked at you and really saw you? When's the last time you felt real? I couldn't answer. We've been the same person for 6 months. It continued. You just didn't notice. And now it's too late, because in about 3 minutes, you're going to forget this conversation. You're going to go to sleep. And when you wake up, you'll think this was a dream. You'll go to work. You'll live your life. And I'll still be here, being you, while you fade a little more. No, I said. But even as I said it, I felt my eyelids getting heavy. It's already happening. It whispered. You've been fading for years. The promotion didn't cause the insomnia. The insomnia was you trying to stay real, trying to hold on. But you're tired, Cameron. So tired. And it's easier to let go. My knees buckled. I tried to stay standing, but my body wouldn't cooperate. The last thing I saw before everything went black was my own face, smiling down at me, phone in hand, already dialing. I woke up in my bed, sunlight through the blinds, alarm clock showing 7:15 a.m. I felt rested for the first time in months. My phone was charging on the nightstand, battery full, showing 0 missed calls. I got up, showered, got dressed for work. Everything felt normal, but when I looked in the bathroom mirror, something was off. My reflection moved a half second too slow. So if you're reading this, if you somehow found this post, I need you to understand something. Check your phone. Check your voicemails. Check how long you've been living on autopilot. Because if you can't remember the last time you felt real, you might not be anymore. And before you close this tab and forget you ever read it, ask yourself, when's the last time someone said your name and you actually felt like they were talking to you? If you can't remember, it's already too late. They're already wearing your face, and you're already fading. Hey, if this story messed with your head even a little bit, do me a favor and hit the like button. Subscribe to Midnight Zephyr if you want more psychological horror that'll keep you up at night. And seriously, check your voicemails. You never know what's waiting.